Okay, so we were talking about relationship sales. We need to focus on that, yes, gang?
Yeah.
And your marketing budget needs to be set up to keep in touch with friends, family, and especially past clients on a regular basis. Monthly with the newsletter, quarterly with a call, yearly or even twice a year with the client appreciation event. We need to do that because there's a lot of business lost in, okay, let me say it this way. Somebody asked me at the break there for a minute, is there a lot of realtors that don't keep in touch?
Yeah.
I said, in the category, remember we had the categories last week? We had a group here, 20%, this group standing here represents the 20% of the realtors that make 80% of the money. Every single one of these ones send out a newsletter and postcards and an online presence. They do everything I teach. Everything is right here, right in this spot. The next group, maybe they're newer, so they're going to get to this category, but right now they fell into a group where they're making this 20% group again, it's making 80% of what's left over from this group. And then there's 3 more groups, 20% groups, making pretty well nothing. And they're not doing nothing though. So that's what we were talking about a lot in the last couple weeks, yes? Okay, so focus on repeat business. Let me just put this up again, because one deal will turn into, I know it says 7, but it could turn in, I had one, when I was full-time in real estate, I had one lady referred me and used me, a combination, 15 times in 4 years. Who would like that? 15, that's, you know, getting a referral from her, taking care of that situation, and then another couple months later getting another call from somebody saying she referred them. And then 4 months later, she referred this other person. And 4 months later, all of a sudden, oh, that's, you know, she wanted to buy something. Or like I remember I sold a business for her, a hair salon. I sold a condo for her, a townhouse. I helped her, you know, buy a house and then buy another place. So it was about 4 or 5, which were her, but there was about 10 referrals. But she got a newsletter every month. You got to do that, right? So let's see what's next here. The 90-10 rule. The 90-10 rule is 10% of the real estate, it should say 20 actually, but I just made it 90-10. If we go back to here, it would be maybe the 80-20 rule, but we'll call it the 90-10. 10 to 20% understand that customer service is the key. Yes? Of course, being paid for it. Customer service is the key. We don't do nothing for free. We don't do nothing for free up front, and we don't do nothing for free on the end. We always, you know, have a face-to-face meeting. We don't do nothing until we get the face-to-face meeting, and then when we meet them, we're going to go over the process, and then we'll see if they're going to hire us to list their house or to help them buy, and then we do the work. Right? And even then, you might not get paid. Not all listings sell. Most will. Close to all of them will, because you took my course, you know how to price things properly. But sometimes people change their minds. Same with buyers. You may do everything right and then they change their mind. But if you do it wrong, a lot of times you're doing a lot of work and getting nothing. Okay? Make a note of this, that next week I have a little quiz for you in the morning. It's more of a fun quiz, but you got to kind of remember a few things. And one of the questions is, do you focus on the 90-10 rule? And what's the 90-10 rule?
Customer service is key.
Customer service is the key. And the way I'm going to see if you can remember that, or if you can, you know, put a little sticky note or something that reminds you to look at this before next week's class, is I'll just ask the question. Somebody will say, what is that? And I'll say, I told you last week, and I'm not telling you again next week. And that's part of the quiz. So it'll say, I follow the 90-10 rule, which is what?
Customer service.
Customer service is the key. Okay, so if you do, then next week you'll say yes or true or false, right? The next thing is invest 25% from every commission check back into your business after what?
Taxes.
And you heard me say this a few times, right?
Yes.
No, this is what we're going to talk about a bit more in this morning's session. 25%. So if we were to do some math, and let's say a commission check, if we said 10,000 just to make the math easy, if it's hard for you to, so how much should we put away for taxes is what we gotta figure out. Right, so we gotta take that off, and then what's left, we take 25% of that. So I'm gonna take this 10,000, I'm gonna break it down in a bit. Sounds good?
Yeah.
And it's gonna start with what this says here. We'll get to that in a minute. Next, put your picture on everything if possible. On all your marketing. So you should have called a professional photographer when you first got licensed, and about every, what, 4 or 5 years you should update your photos? What do you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every
You know?
2
And-
years.
Or if you have a major physical change, you know, let's say you lost a bunch of weight, or you decided to have, you know, your appearance look different with your hair different, and then you're wearing glasses or whatever. But you should keep it updated to some degree. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You know, so you should get a couple of photos where it's from here up. You see that on your business card?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then maybe you have, excuse me,
Yeah.
I'll just get some water. You should have a full body photo, and you can use that wherever it makes sense. You should maybe look happy. I think that's up there. Yeah, it's coming up. Maybe you should look happy. Maybe you should have an action shot, or maybe a more serious shot as well. Maybe something like that, you know, you cross your arms, and but you don't look mad, of course, right? So you go. How many of you have used a professional photographer for your photos? Yeah. Okay, so that's a good idea. And the next thing is use the 50-50 rule. So that's another rule. So you get the 90-10 rule. So what's the 90-10 rule again?
Customer
Customer
service.
service.
And what do you think the 50-50 is? It's using 50% of all your marketing should be influenced by you.
Yeah.
And the other 50% should be influenced by what?
Broker.
Your company.
Thank you. Yes, your company. So what would a postcard look like? It would have a picture of you,
Yeah.
and it would have the logo of your company,
Right.
and the colors of your postcard should be the company colors.
Yes.
That's the way it should look.
Yes.
And it should be very consistent, so that when you look at your business card, it looks the same. You may even consider having your photo on your yard signs, but you don't have to. All of your other marketing should have your photo and your company, okay? So your website should look like your business card at a glance, should look like your postcard, should look like your bus bench, should look like any other advertising you're doing online or social media. And so people, it's called branding, folks. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
It's, you know, I seen somebody that every postcard they sent out was a different color every week, and it was a different photo and a different blurb and a different thing. And I said, well, every week, every month you send it out, everyone thinks it's a new realtor.
Yeah.
Because they're not really, they don't read anything half the time. So if they hardly read anything, that also means that you should not make any of your marketing busy. You should actually remove dialogue and stuff. You should make it really simple, really catchy and easy for people to read. Because if you send anything, I have this one realtor, he would send out these flyers and just statement after statement after statement after statement, some bold things, some, you know, like, and it was like, I swear it was like, on one page, there was, you know, as much as reading about 4 pages in a book. And I just said, hey, Dave, it's just way too busy. No one's going to read it because this is really important stuff. I said, it's not important if they don't read it. Like, they're not reading it, right? And if you ever heard of how advertising works, you have 2 to 4 seconds to get someone's attention. And if it's too busy, they're already decided that they don't want to invest their own time into looking into this right now, okay? So make sure you look happy and include your family in certain parts of the marketing, like you may have your family included in your pre-list brochure, but not on your business card, of course. Not enough room. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, your family may be included in your bio, and your hobbies on your website. Your pre-list may have something about your family. It's a good place for it. All right, next. Use full body, I already said that. Use a full body photo if possible. So it would go great on the back of your pre-list brochure, just under those 10 questions with your contact info and your company logo again. And I think the sample on our website has that, isn't that right, gang?
Yeah.
Now, on all of your marketing pieces, make sure that you make, like, you've got your picture, you've got your company logo, and you've got your company colors. The next two most important things that people need to see without having to put on their glasses or squint or not see it is to make sure your name is very big. Your name. And make it big. And if I saw your marketing piece right now, I'd say to you, bigger. And if you made it bigger, what do you think I'd say again? Bigger. Bigger, bigger, bigger. Make it big. You know, make it big so it's big. And your phone number should be big. Now, when you're first building your business, you may use a direct line, I get that. But when you get really busy with 10 to 20 listings, you're going to want to have your office number on all your marketing, not your cell phone. You won't want to have your cell phone when you have 15 to 20 listings. It will drive you nuts. You won't be in control, and then when you turn your phone off, a lot of calls are missed because people just hang up. So if you have an office where they call, or if your office isn't set up that way, then get your own answering service when you're busy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have more control over your career. But until then, highlight your name, make it big, bigger, and bigger, yes? And your direct phone number or your office number, all right? So let's see what's next, shall we? Include your name in a tagline, and maybe include an emotional message. Any of you seen a realtor in this area, in this city, that has their name in a tagline or on their bus bench or maybe on any of their marketing? Has anybody ever seen anything?
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, what's the one you seen? Who said that? You
I did.
You did? Yeah, what did you see?
I think it just said like we sell homes or something.
What's his name? We or?
Um,
No, there's his name in the tagline.
oh no, not in the
No, okay. Yeah, we'll get to the emotional message in a second, but if you can put your name, sometimes it rhymes with something, you know, like moving or sell or something, and somebody's got a name and it goes, you know, then it kind of rhymes. You can do that. An emotional message, maybe it's something like, you move us, integrity, intelligence, innovation, or move to what moves you. We are life changers, or a smart move, or any other ones you've seen where you've seen a kind of a phrase with a realtor as bus bench. That's what we're talking about. And to understand that it's that important, let's talk about some corporations that pay mega bucks just to get the right branding and the right words. Like, here's one that somebody paid millions of dollars for. Millions. And it's 3 words. And it worked so well that if I say the words, every single one of you will tell me what company it is. You want to hear what it is?
Maybe just do it.
Is that a yes? Did somebody
Yes.
say yes?
Yes.
Did you want to hear it?
Yes.
Just do it. Who's that?
Nike.
Yeah. You know, so they paid millions to get that. And you guys, I'm just telling you, for no cost, just to come up with a couple of words to add to your, and you're going to start to be aware of this. You'll be driving around and you look at a bus bench, you go, oh, that's a good saying. I can see it now. So if big companies are spending lots of money just to come up with that, that shows that it's kind of important. Agreed?
Yes.
All right. So let's see what else we have here. Use the we word a lot, even if you're brand new. When you list with us, we do this, we do that. Because when they list with you, they're listing with the brokerage anyways. Sounds good, gang?
Yes.
Yeah, and you want to just use the we word a lot. Sounds good. You said, so I got, that's number 8. I got up to 15 here. And then we got 15 items to help you to build a team. Then we're going to talk about budgeting and in regards to money. And then show you how to commit to being a wealthy person at the end of this morning's session. And our food, do you know, are they going to come at a certain time? Did they say?
12:20.
12:20, okay, so we've got about an hour, it should be fine, okay? So let's do number 9, okay? Ask for referrals, especially upon key releases. So I put that in as an example. Sometimes the buyers are super happy, most times, they're super happy when they're moving into the house, when you're doing a walkthrough with them. Do you agree?
Yes.
At that time, it's a good time to say, hey, you know, enjoy your home, and by the way, do you know of anybody else who might be thinking of buying or selling? And I'll give you a couple of tips on how to get them to even write it down for you. Sounds good? But before I do that, I want to ask you, when are some other times when sellers or buyers are really happy that it would be appropriate to ask for more business? Give me another example, other than walking through the house on key release. When's another time that you get asked?
Housewarming?
Housewarming party, there's a good one, write that one down. Would it make sense to ask them when a deal falls apart?
No.
No. When conditions are trying to get removed and there's a struggle, you know, like they're not sure about that. So, you know, you can ask anytime they're happy. You know, they're doing a housewarming party, they're doing the walkthrough and they're moving into the house that day, or conditions just got removed and they're really happy. Possession may not be for another 6 weeks, but you could say, hey, I'm glad you're happy. By the way, do you know of anybody else thinking of? So ask for referrals. Right now, when somebody doesn't want to sell, doesn't really want to you know, move forward with anything with you, is there a time when we're still asking for referrals? What's the last question on your prospecting track that you're asking already? You've been asking it for like 6 weeks.
Do you know anybody else?
Oh, by the way, do you
No,
know
no,
anybody
no.
else? How many of you are asking that all the time? Good job, because you're bound to get some 20% income increase just based on asking that question, I would say, okay? The next thing is use statistical, tongue twister for me, information. Some people love that stuff. One of the ways that I've seen this before was with our marketing pieces. We've got a number of different things we do. One in particular works well as a business card. How many of you got your business cards? Okay, and one of the things you can do is be creative on what your business card looks like. Have any of you seen any really creative business cards other than just your standard, you know, with what I said, you got like what's on there? Has anybody seen anything that's different that they'd like to share? Yeah?
Just highlighted or gold plated or.
Yeah, gold plated. I seen one that looked exactly like a credit card.
Yeah.
It was plastic like the card, and the phone number was spaced out like the credit card number.
Yeah.
And when he handed it, it looked like he was handing a credit card to people. And then they looked at it, that's your business card. Is that ever cool? Right? Any other creative ones that you've seen out there, anybody? I've seen ones that fold open. Have you ever seen those?
Yeah.
Business card, it just opens up. For a lot of realtors use that. Looks like a normal card on the front,
Yeah.
right? And then you open it up and it's got more information in there. Yeah. What else?
With the QR codes?
QR codes, yeah, you can put those on there and it goes right to your website. You can also put them on your yard signs. But back on business cards, any other really interesting looking ones you've seen? He's laughing his guts out there. I don't know what I'm saying, it's so funny. What is it? Is it something you saw funny on a card or?
Nothing, it's just.
He just recalled a joke from yesterday evening.
Oh, he's laughing today about something that was funny yesterday?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so let's get back on track here. One I seen was, anybody know what a hockey card looks like?
Yes.
What's on the front?
Player.
And their name
Yep.
and their number, right?
Yeah.
What's on the back?
Stats.
Their stats. Stats. Right? So you wouldn't do it as a brand new agent probably, you have no stats. But imagine if it's 5 years down the road. Right? You'd put listings, listings sold, buyer sales, and expireds. Expireds would say 0. And I saw a realtor that had it and said, here's my card. And I went, that's like a hockey card, you know, or a soccer card or sports card, let's say, right? And it had him on front, action shot, you know, had his phone number and whatever, and flipped it over and his stats. I thought that was really cool. So any other ideas come to mind? No? Okay. So let's see what else we have here. Have value in your marketing pieces. Have value. So maybe some real estate information. Maybe some of your marketing pieces, at least once a year you should send out your calendar. How many of you are sending out a calendar right now? Okay, and remember, if 200 people have your calendar on their wall for a whole year with your contact info, what do you think might happen?
Probably call you.
You'd probably get some referrals, for sure, okay? Now, when I talk about marketing pieces other than calendars, which would have real estate information, recipes, crossword puzzles, what do you think I'm talking about? What do you think has recipes, crossword puzzles, and maybe real estate information in it? Your newsletter that gets mailed directly to them. DMS had a sample on our website. There's a sample plus in the manual. And you can contact Laura and you can get the different types of newsletters you can send out, and they're all pre-made. You don't have to create the newsletter. It's all pre-made for you. Sounds good? Use heavier stock paper on all of your marketing pieces. So your business card should be thicker, not thinner. Your postcard should be thicker. And somebody will say, what stock paper is it? And I'm not sure what the numbers are. Maybe they say 60 or something. And you go, okay, I'd like one stock heavier, and it might be 80. And then they may say, well, that's going to cost you a little bit more. And the go-to, the normal thing to do for a lot of people say, oh, forget it, I'm not going to do that because it costs more. I'm encouraging you to spend a little extra. You'd be surprised at how people react with higher quality. You'd be surprised. I mean, you probably get an extra deal here or there. So it's really, again, these little things really add up. Heavier stock paper for business cards, postcards. Your newsletter is already glossy and a little thicker from DMS Marketing. Some of these companies already do heavier and glossy and stuff like that, right? Always get a final proof. Most marketing companies will make sure that they send you a proof and they'll ask you to approve it. But if you want to take it a step further, you might ask somebody else to look at it as well. Like if I got a postcard and it was mine, I might look at it. I might ask one of my associates in the office, look at it as well. Tell me what you think, because I might miss a typo. You'll be surprised how many people out there they see a typo and right away they're like, nope. One little typo. It's surprising. Okay, so watch out for the typos. Be consistent with your look and your deliveries. So, how often should your newsletter go out? Once a month. If there is a month that you don't send it out, it would be December, where they get your calendar. So you get your newsletter January to November, and they get a calendar just before Christmas for the next year. Is the exception. If you're not going to do a calendar, then send out a newsletter every month. And your postcards should go out every month as well. But make everything look, what did I say? Your postcard looks like your newsletter, like the banner on the newsletter. The banner on the newsletter looks like your bus bench. The bus bench banner looks like your website banner. Everything looks the same.
Yeah.
And the only time it changes is when you're updating your photo or there's a new logo with the company and it's something like that. Other than that, everything, and it should all be the same all the time. And somebody will say, well, what about my solds and my listings? Well, you got target marketing to do. I know that. On the back side, on the front side, it might have your just listeds. It may have a couple of solds on it. That may change. I get that. But on the other side, it's the postcard. Front of the postcard is going to look the same all the time. People, there's like a subconscious thing that happens. When it comes to marketing, there's a comfortable familiarity that people get. And if they see it enough, they use it. That's how advertising works. It's this familiarity over and over and over and over. Okay. Next is celebrate the holidays. So you have a reason to reach out to people right now because we have the Christmas season. You can send Christmas cards, and you can even phone certain people and say, I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, something like that. Okay. But you have a reason. Now in your website, you have KV Core, some people have Top Producer, some people have like Real Estate Webmasters that I told you about, different types. But they will remind you to send out stuff if you set it up properly. They will even have a system in each one where they can print off flyers or postcards that you can mail out and even an email or e-flyer system. You should be calling people when it's their birthday. If they helped you earn $5,000 to $10,000, I would call them on their birthday and say happy birthday. Not Facebook with the other 50 people that don't even know them. Right? This is an investment for your business so that one deal turns into what?
7.
No, 15. Wouldn't you rather have 15 than 7?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Well then say that then instead, right? One deal turns into what?
20.
15 instead, right?
15.
So people's birthdays, so that system you were talking about, Peter, will remind people. You'll turn on your computer that day and it'll say, call Dwayne, it's his birthday. But the question is, are you going to call him? Go ahead and tell the person beside you if you're going to call him or not. Because it'd be a real shame. It'd be a real shame for you to turn on. I just said, say that, don't start a conversation. But she's starting a conversation. Okay, so that's the problem when I get you to say something to the next person and somebody goes right into a whole social thing. So here, let's stay on track here. So call somebody and say happy birthday. You'd be surprised not only how happy that makes them feel, but they already know you're calling and they know you're their realtor. And they might say, oh yeah, well, thanks for calling me. Oh, by the way, actually, now that you called, I just remembered I got a friend that's thinking of selling. I'm going to tell them about you. So yeah, it's a win-win. And even if it's not now money, they still remember you more, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, what about anniversaries? For example, if I stumbled across this one, I called one of my clients a couple of days before his wedding anniversary. His response kind of set me back. He says, I'm so glad you called me, Dwayne. He says, I totally would have forgot. He says, you saved my life, man. He says, I'm going to use you forever. So I started calling, especially the husband, a week before their anniversary. Set it up in my top producer. The question is, how many of you are going to do that? So how are you going to get their birthday and their anniversary? How are you going to get that? What are you going to do?
Just talk to them.
So when you're talking to them, you just say, can you give me your birthday? And
No,
yeah.
it's like, it comes out of the
No, you get to
conversation
know them
as
and-
you get to
Yeah.
know them.
In the
So as you get to know them, when's your
Mm-hmm.
birthday? Well, that won't come up. How many of you in the last 6 weeks have gotten someone's birthday and their anniversary? So he has. But typically, you're going to be not bringing that up. So here's a tip for you. Ready?
Ready?
So, and mark it down wherever you want. And so when you do a key release or a possession date, so you do it for both your seller and your buyer. So if you have a buyer that's moving into a place, you're going to be there walking through it, right? And you might give them a gift, right, for using you. And then you want to create a little questionnaire on your company letterhead. So that's the first thing you want to mark down. Create a questionnaire on the company letterhead. And ask them some questions on there and have a place on the bottom that shows where they can put a 1 or 2 liner testimonial. Okay? As soon as you wrote that down, just let me know and I'll carry on, so I don't want to get too far ahead of anybody. So you got that?
Yes.
Okay, now, the way you want to do it is maybe ask, I don't know, 8 to 10 questions. So a couple of questions might be about your service. What did they think about the service? How did they feel about, the timing of everything? Did it meet their expectations? Those questions, right? So that's 3 or 4. Then you have one like, when's your wedding anniversary? So make sure you make a note of that. When's your birthday? When's your kids' birthdays? When's, stuff like that. So somebody that took my class just before you guys, she's doing all the little things. And she's in coaching as well. And every time I talk to her, she'll say, yeah, I had somebody that sent me back a testimonial. They answered all the questions. I put their birthday in there. My database is all, the reminders are all there. And I called them just a while ago and said happy birthday, and they had somebody that wanted to buy a house. So she keeps saying to me all the time, every time we're in coaching, she keeps saying to me, and it works. Everything I keep telling her to do stuff, like you guys, and her response is, it works. It works. It works. It works. I go, I know it works. I've been doing it 20 years. Right? So now you got your letter, or not your letter, but your company letterhead with how many questions?
8 to
And
10.
what's some of the questions again?
Service.
So about your service, and then about their birthdays and their anniversary. And then space, put a testimonial and about 4 lines. Okay? And it'll just say testimony, please give us a couple of sentences on a testimonial for us we can put on our website. And then what you do is you trifold that and you put it beside a number 10 envelope that has your address on it with a prepaid stamp. So make a note of that as soon as you're done that, put up your hand. Now you take your prepaid envelope
Yeah.
and you take your trifold company letterhead with the questions and the testimonial, and you put it in the envelope. You don't even have to seal it. So when you go on your key release, you just hand this to them and say, if you don't mind maybe giving me a testimonial, and there's a little questionnaire in here, and then there's a self-paid envelope, just send it back when you're done. Some of you say, oh, I want a Google review. Well, it's a little harder than you think to always get them to do. It's like you got to bug them. Or you'll say, well, maybe they can email it to me. I'm just letting you know that when you do it in person, there's a higher chance. You just hand it to them. Next thing you know, that sometimes they just show up. Because it's mailed back. Any questions on that? I did it all the time, by the way. So on my website, on the back end, I have testimonial after testimonial. How many of you have been to our website, Dwayne Groom Seminars? Okay, have you seen the testimonials?
Yeah.
There's like 100. And I'm going to ask you folks, at the end of today, I'm gonna ask you all if you can give me a testimonial about what you thought of the course. So a testimonial would be only positive stuff. If you had negative stuff, it wouldn't be a testimonial. It would be a phone call with me or an email, or an email saying what you didn't like that we would, but testimonial is something we put on the website,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean, right? So I'll ask every single one of you to please have a testimonial for next week. And just to let you know, for some reason, a lot of people don't follow their weekly activities. I hope all of you are. And the way I find out if you were is next week I'll see how many testimonials I'll get. And some people say testimonials are hard. It's really easy. Put it on your company letterhead, just put 2 sentences. The course helped me to get motivated, and Dwayne had some good topics that I really enjoyed. Boom, that's it. A couple of sentences, that's all you have to do. If you want to do more, I'll take more too, right? And if I go next week, hand in your testimonials and I don't get any, then I know that none of you, well, I won't go there just yet. It's not next week yet. So celebrate the holidays, as well as people's birthdays and anniversaries. So give me a new for this here as we talk about building a team. Ooh. Thank you. And I want you to write down something. A top producer / team leader. A top producer / team leader. I'm just going to tell you there's only 3 things they should be doing. This is where you should be heading. Okay? This is what you should be doing when you're at the top of your game. And everything else is either delegated to others or you're embracing technology. But there's only 3 things that a top producer / team leader does. You ready for them?
Yep.
Go on listing appointments. Keep deals together, or negotiate offers and keep deals together, and go on holidays. So what are they again? What's number 1? Go on listing appointments. Number 2?
Keep deals together.
And negotiate offers. Or negotiate offers and keep deals together. And number 3? Go on holidays. That's it. All right? So who's doing the administration?
Associates.
You have an executive assistant that would do that.
Yeah.
Who's taking care of the buyer leads?
Your licensed associates.
So you have another person, that's where you want to picture you're going to be. I was talking to that same person I mentioned, starting to do 2 deals a month sort of thing. I said, I want you to picture where you're going to be a year from now. She's only been licensed for a year and a half. I said, I want you to picture this. You have a full-time assistant. You go on listing appointments. You're going on 1 every day, 5 days a week. And then other realtors are bringing you offers, and you're dealing with that. And, even when you're busy, you still are taking a break every 8 to 10 weeks, and you're taking a good holiday every 3 months, for at least 3 weeks. I said, that's what I want you to picture. So you're literally going on appointments, bringing the paperwork back to your assistant, and then you get a call, somebody's got an offer, you're dealing with it, trying to firm it up, trying to keep the deal together, right? Everything else your assistant can do for you, and any extra leads, you just have another realtor to cover for you. Because you can't do all the buyer leads when you carry 10 to 20 listings.
Yeah.
You're going to keep some. And what's the number 1 buyer lead that you would keep if you're a listing agent? What do you think?
Previous lines?
What's the number 1 one?
Pre-approved.
No, it would be